Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I help women abuse survivors heal their histories and their health with holistic wellness solutions, including mind body medicine, nutrition, and transpersonal psychology. Today, I want to talk to you about 3 reasons why cancer rates are tripling. They are so high now. We're now at 53% for men and 48% for women. So that's more than half the people you know are going to be diagnosed with cancer in your lifetime. And those rates are expected to double by 2050. So, but there's some things we can do. I know this is really bad news, but there are things we can do. There are some cultures that hardly ever have cancer as one of their illnesses. The US is leading the way in cancer rates, and this is not necessary. It's totally not necessary. So the 3 reasons that I want to talk about today, one is environmental. So we are exposed to 80,000 chemicals in our environment and in our food supply. Over 10,000 of these chemicals are in our food supply. That means we are swallowing them, and they are creating all kinds of havoc in our bodies. Now we're talking about environmental toxins too, as well. So things that you're putting on your skin, lotion, for instance, that might have phthalates and other petroleum products and triclosan that's used in the stuff that you use to disinfect your hands. You know what I'm talking about. What is that stuff called? Anyway, that these carcinogens are known carcinogens. Now, everyone thinks that everything out on the market is safe in the United States. Simply not true. I wish it were. But the FDA does not, contrary to popular belief, go through every single chemical, food chemical, any kind of chemical, and say yes or no, this is safe or not safe. Most of these chemicals are being tested on us. We are the guinea pigs. The company that makes the chemical, they get to say that it's safe and report to the FDA that it is safe, even though it may not have that much testing behind it. So they hire scientists that may skew the results, or towards the sale of the chemical. So it ends up being economic. So that's probably TMI right now, because there's a lot more I have to tell you about. So food and chemical exposures are number one, as for the reasons for these rates tripling. Emotional reasons. Now, this is the thing that I work with mostly with my clients, or deeply with my clients, and what kind of makes me different from a lot of other people that practice nutrition and holistic medicine. And it's the emotions and how the body stores emotions based on the experiences of our lives. So I always say that the body always remembers what you're trying to forget. And I say this from my own personal experiences of having over a dozen illnesses, including fibromyalgia, and having healed it, working with the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual reasons why. So I looked at the holistic system. Now, the emotional component to cancer, for instance, for what I've worked with my clients on, is that cancer is often it's associated with fear, and that could be fears that have been running your whole life. So your parents kind of instilled fear into you, and then you kind of ran your life in a fear-based sort of way, and then also resentments and anger, and pushing those things down. So I have seen people come to me with a cancer diagnosis not long after a major event that made them build up a resentment. And things like I've seen people who they just found out their husband cheated on them, and it might have been years and years and years ago, but they found it out, and it devastated them. So the emotional havoc that it wreaked on their body was intense, so much so that cancer was able to begin to form. And we all have cancer cells in our bodies, and we all should be fighting them off with a strong immune system. But most of us have really weakened immune systems from the experiences of our lives, from the chemicals in our environment, from Wi-Fi, from cell phone towers, there are a lot of things that are potentially affecting us. But there are a lot of fixes that are actually pretty darn easy when it comes to food, when it comes to the emotional inner work that's required, and the mind-body medicine techniques that I help people with. So my favorite fix for the emotional, I'm going to talk about a little bit more deeply in a few minutes, but you can just get that on my website for free. It's my whole person integration technique, and it's been shown to really help people with releasing the emotions, how they get stuck in the body, and how they're connected to the physical feelings that you're feeling, physical manifestations that become persistent symptoms and then become disease. So the third thing that I would say, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, but the third thing that I think is a really big factor in the rates of cancer increasing is the normalization of cancer. We are normalizing this disease in our society, and this, to me, is one of the most frightening things that we are doing as a whole. There are, hospitals that are devoting huge wings of their buildings. They're creating these buildings they're erecting buildings to cancer, basically, because there's so much need for them. There doesn't have to be this much need for them, but one of the things that happens in Western medicine is they're not looking for the most important thing when it comes to cancer, and that is the root cause. Why did you get the cancer in the first place? So they're going straight to surgery, chemo, radiation. Those are the three things that they have to solve the problem. Some doctors are practicing functional medicine, and bless you for that. And many of my friends are in this boat they're medical doctors that are practicing functional medicine. So they're really looking at the root cause. So go find a functional oncologist. Find an integrative oncologist, somebody that can help you with your holistic system, because that's going to be really important. So another way that they're normalizing cancer is by putting all of these ads on television. The pharmaceutical drug companies are making so much money. It is ridiculous. It has become a big, big business. And you are the consumer of this business. There are so many ways to help heal cancer. I've seen so many people get well using a holistic perspective, using food, using the emotional work, the emotional release work, using mind-body medicine techniques. Also, changing your thought processes has so much to do with this. So, changing, not being one of the people that is contributing to the normalization of cancer, as this is just how people die in our society. This is just how it happens. And that, hey, they're advancing so much that most people are getting well, and it's simply not the truth. If you have ever watched anyone that you love die of cancer, it is the most horrifying thing. It's painful. I watched one of my best friends die of it last year. It's excruciating to watch what it does to the body, very slowly, knocking out every single part of it. So I highly recommend that you take your healing into your own hands and you get help. My best-selling book, Get Well Now, is the solution that I created to help people understand that you have power. You have so much more power over your health than you can even imagine. I learned this firsthand, and it's why I wrote this book. I even have food plans in here. I talk about environmental exposures, assessing your toxic burden. So this is something that I think is really important. I know it is. In fact, I'll just read you a little bit of this list I have. When you assess your toxic burden, you're assessing what are the things in my environment, what are the things that could be contributing to a potential cancer diagnosis. And goes for other chronic diseases that we see all the time, like autoimmune diseases. That's another big one. So you can go back to childhood and look at the patterns. What did you eat for dinner as a child? Were you sick a lot? Were you on antibiotics a lot? Because that is a contributing factor. Did you have many typical mainstream body products in the home? Were you exposed to radiation on multiple x-rays or in accidents, medical tests, or routine scoliosis screenings? Did you live in an area that's sprayed for mosquitoes in the summertime? Did you grow up near a farm where there were pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and chemical fertilizers were used? Or an industrial area where they may have been dumping things into the water? Did you eat a lot of mainstream food products like Doritos and Twinkies and Chips Ahoy like I did, microwaved popcorn, microwave foods in general, candies like Starburst, Fruit Chews, and Sour Patch Kids? All of these things. Did you use bug sprays on your body when you went out in the summertime? Did you ever smoke cigarettes on a regular basis? Did you drink alcoholic beverages 2 or more drinks a week or several nights a week? Did you use bug sprays? Did you use inexpensive products? Did you eat sandwich meats for lunch? So there's a huge list that I have in the book about lowering your toxic burden. And the main reason I wrote that list was to help you start thinking about what can my links be? What are the some of the things that I can change? Because all of the things on my list pretty much everything on the list can be reversed except what you did as a child. But you can reverse now what you've been doing for a long time and hopefully prevent and or heal cancer that may already be happening in your body. So I hope that the information that I've given you today can really help you. I want to help you with the emotional links to cancer and nutritional links. And if you need help, I would love for you to look at my 10 Steps to Overcoming the Effects of Victimization. It is a free ebook on my website, and in it is my whole person integration technique. And it's a mind-body technique that I created to help you release the emotions where they're stuck in the body, and basically have a conversation with these, what most people call negative emotions. I call them teaching emotions because I think they're here to teach us something about who we really are. So I hope that you go to my website at meghaworth.com and go ahead and get that free ebook, and then download it and do the 10 steps to overcoming the effects of victimization. And I hope that this information will help you get well now. I know that it can, and I'm here for you. I also offer free consultations, again, at meghaworth.com. I hope that you will get well.